What I'm going to be talking about today is herbal liniments. I've done martial arts for years, so in the martial arts community we call it Dit Da Jiao, but it is what it is. It's an herbal liniment. You know, whatever you want to call it, whatever language you want to call it, it's an herbal liniment. And if you can see, I've made a lot of it. If you look at the amount of herbs that's inside, it's a lot of herbs. I think this cost me close to $50 to make, but this stuff will probably last me for a long time. And if you sell it or something like that, I don't know what the laws are for that, but if you figured out if you could sell it, or if you sold some, or forget selling it, even if you gave some away, you'd have a ton of it. This is a pretty big amount. I have various herbs in here for bruises and stuff like that, but it's good for a multitude of things, and you can use it for whatever your problems are, and you can gear it towards you and what issues you have. People that have arthritis, stuff like that, you could put things in there that's pain relievers. You can put things in there that help blood circulation. You could put things in there that do a multitude of things, and this stuff here is just great for all kinds of things. I use mine for like I said, training. You know, you have bruises and stuff like that. You know, I have, you know, I also made, you know, a little extra for certain, you know, for my friends and stuff like that. You know, it's just good for a multitude of things. Now, I'm not going to go through everything that's in this one, but I will talk about how it's made and what you can do. Now, a lot of the secrets out there are secret. You know, I learned this from one of my own teachers, and I'm not gonna get into what exactly is in this one, but I will talk to you about what you can put in your own. And you know, like I said, you can gear it up, you can gear it towards you. There's a few things that you want to have in it as far as for if you're making it for bruises. Now, you can make it for a multitude of things. If you have skin issues, if you have issues with certain things like eczema and stuff like that, I suggest people research it and research what herbs are good for that, because there's so many out there that actually help with it. Even, well, for eczema in particular, shea butter, olive oil, things like that are excellent for your skin. But you can make one of these for that. If you have arthritis, you can use herbs that are pain relievers. You want, if you're making it for, if you're making a traditional Dit Da Jiao, you're going to want a few different categories into it to make that up. And you're going to want a blood purifier. You're going to want I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head. I didn't write any of it down. It's all upstairs, but you know, you're going to want a blood purifier. You're going to want something that's a pain reliever. You're going to want something that's going to reduce swelling. I can't remember the technical terms, but something that's going to reduce swelling. You're going to want something that's going to stimulate circulation. So circulation stuff like cinnamon. You got cinnamon. You have cayenne pepper, I believe. Cayenne pepper stimulates it. Blood purifying, you have stuff like I believe, you know, people, a lot of Asians and stuff use sarsaparilla root, I think, or sarsaparilla root. You have I don't know if a lot of Asians use that. I know, well, a lot of people or Asians in America that I know use that. But you know, you have sarsaparilla root. You have man, I'm trying to remember all the herbs. You have blessed thistle, I believe, and it's just a lot of different ones. I like to put cinnamon in my things, and it's it's great for stuff like that. Not just, you know, in this kind of stuff. I put, you know, cinnamon in different things. But I'm just going to talk about how to make it. Like I said, you can research it and research what your particular issues are and gear it towards you. Black walnut is supposedly good for skin stuff, but you need to research that and see side effects of that, and, you know, research it and go, you know, go at your own, you know, it's your own will. You know, you can research and go with that. But, you know, you can make, multitude of things. It should be dark in color. This is fairly new, so it might not have, and the way it looks in the light, it's actually, jar might be a little dirty, but it looks kind of reddish maybe, but it's actually almost black. It should be darker in color after a while. You shouldn't be able to see through it. Not that I believe, you know, the whole thing, the darker it is, the stronger it is, but just it's leaching all that stuff out and all those goodness out of those herbs, so it should be darker. This stuff is, like I said, this stuff is great for a multitude of things. I'm going to go over the rules of how to make it. If you have vodka, I like to use vodka. 80 proof's the minimum I'll go as far as what I'll use. You could go a little lower if you want to, but 80 proof is probably as little I want to go. 40% alcohol. I think any less than that, you run a chance of it not lasting as long or being as potent. If you can go higher, like, you know, Everclear or stuff like that, great. You know, I would suggest using it going up to about, it's going over 100. I can't remember exactly what it is, but if you can get 100% vodka, 100 proof vodka, that'd be good. But I use 80 because I can't always get 100%, and 80 is a little cheaper, and it seems to work for me for a while. So that's what I do. I make this stuff here. I have, my house is like full of herbal stuff that I make, and I've pretty much helped myself out and family members off of the things that I've made. And you know, like I said, you know, everyone should try things for them and see if it helps them out. And you know what I mean? Like, everyone has their own decisions to make, and you know, a lot of it is eating better and living right, and you know, things will change for you, but should get a little better. But this stuff right here is pretty good. I use 80% vodka in it, or 80 proof vodka. I break it up into parts. I talk about parts, but it's good to know if your stuff is dried or fresh. And if it's fresh, you can add the herbs up to the top and just fill the vodka just over the herbs. Now, if it's not fresh and it's dried, what's going to happen is when you put it in there after it sits for a while, it's going to soak up and expand. And if it expands and it's out of the actual liquid, then it can go bad and rancid and stuff like that, and you don't want that. So what you need to do is we need to kind of watch what we're doing, and we need to compensate for that. So what you're going to do is you're going to have about, I would say, a lot of people say a rule of thumb is probably half. I would go half and half. But if you have a jar as big as mine, half's even a lot because it expands so much. So I would put maybe 3 parts vodka to even 1 part of this, or I would even go to 3 parts or 4 parts, depending on what kind of herbs you're putting here. If it's big, you know, dried leafy things like that, it expands a lot. I didn't put a whole lot of herbs in here, and I knew it would expand, and you can tell how much it expanded. It's almost even to the top. Now, people might not believe me, but it's been sitting for a while. This stuff sits for minimally 6 months. A lot of other herbal things that you take internally is going to sit for maybe only 2 weeks. So this has a lot more time to even soak up, you know, a lot more. And this has been sitting for a little bit. So, you know, you can tell that when you let it sit, it's going to sit for well, this stuff's gonna sit, an herbal liniment, you know, some people could say, you know, you could still let it sit for a couple weeks, and some people say, I don't believe that. I think it needs to sit minimum a year, me personally. A lot of people tell you 6 months. I wouldn't go any less than 6 months if you're going to make this to apply externally. If you're making something to take internally, I would never let it sit that long. You probably can get away with it, but I personally wouldn't do it. And this is just all about me personally and what I do personally, but I would never personally do that. For me personally, to make an herbal liniment, I'm gonna let it sit for about a year so it extracts all that stuff and extracts that goodness. Another thing I'm going to talk about here, controversial thing, and a lot of people might get mad as far as the herbal community, but I do not cook the herbs before I put it in here. What I mean by that is I don't put the herbs in a pot and let it kind of stew for a little bit, and then put it in there, and it makes it darker and stuff like that, and people think it makes it stronger, but it doesn't. And what it does is you're actually taking away a lot of the medical properties by doing that. Science people, if you warm certain things up, if you warm a lot of different herbs up, I could think of papaya leaf off the top of my head, you're actually killing the agent in it, and I think it's papain. You're actually taking that away if you warm it to a certain temperature. So I would take the herbs as they are. I would research. If you can get fresh herbs, that'd be great. But if you can't, I would research where the herbs you're getting, where they're coming from, and I would research that and make sure that you're getting the best of the best, so to speak. And you want to make sure, you want to read how they were prepared, how they were dried and stuff like that, so you know that they weren't, you know, treated too harshly and stuff like that. And basically, you know, because you can take some of the stuff out of it, but I put the herbs straight in here. I mix it, and how I mix a lot of my herbal stuff is I hold it like this, and I'll take this hand and I'll smack it against the hand, and I'll do that about 40 times or so. And I'll do that, if you see these bubbles here, you see the bubbles coming out, I'll do that for, and what it's doing is you're mixing all that stuff together, and you do that for about 2 weeks, and then you let it sit. After 2 weeks, you just let it sit. You let it stew, you let it get to where you want it to get, but you let it sit. Do that for 2 weeks, 3 times a day. You come in there, do it about 40 times, let it sit. You come back again in the evening time or so, do it again, let it sit. You come back at night, do it again, let it sit. 2 weeks after, 2 weeks of that, after that, you just let it sit. You can put it in a dark, cool place. Let it sit for about, like I said before, 6 months to a year, whatever you want. And there you go. If you need it quicker, you can let it sit for a couple weeks, and that'll be fine. I personally let mine sit longer, but you can, do whatever. But I want to thank everyone for watching. I'll definitely go through, I'll probably show people exactly how to make it next time, so people can actually see how it's made, and that way we can we can go through the process of adding everything and stuff like that. But for right now, I just wanted to quickly touch over this and go through it and talk about it. And thank you for everyone for watching, and I will be sure to upload more videos for you pretty soon. Thank you.